All right, this is an interesting inspection, so check this out. So one of the things that I find often on these inspections as I go down to this basement is you see a lot of repairs to things like structural repairs where they fix the damage, but they don't fix the root cause. And let me explain, let me show you this. All right, we've got these CMU concrete masonry units. We got basically masonry block foundation. If you come over here, you're gonna see these step cracks right here. This is a section of the wall right here bulging out. But if you look really close, you're going to see a horizontal crack running down this wall. Now, horizontal cracks tend to be your most significant and severe cracks in these foundations. But let me show you what happened here. Let me show you what they did. You see these pilasters that have been put in? That was an old crack. So you see this crack right here. But if you stand back and you look real close, let me see if I can get this. You're going to notice that this mortar joint right here is bigger than the rest of these mortar joints. Okay, so that means that mortar joint, if you look at it, you can see that it's bigger than the rest of them. That means it's been repaired. So that would have been a bulging wall with a big horizontal crack running down this wall. But they came in and they put these pilasters in. So those right there are remediation, and those are not recent. Okay, those have been here a while. That's been here a very long while. And this wall is leaning in just a little bit. And you can see we've got somewhat of a pancake crack going on here. Now, the fact that you see new cracking in a repair is how you know that the structural movement is continuing. Okay, so they've done all this repair. They put the pilasters in. You come over here. You see another one right there. There's a big one. Okay. So there's been remediation and repairs here. You can see one in the corner over there. But look down here. You see this moisture intrusion? How does that happen? Have you ever swam to the bottom of a swimming pool and the pressure from being in the bottom pops your ears? There's something called hydrostatic pressure that builds up behind these walls. The more water that hits your foundation, it can only go one direction, and that's straight down, and it starts to build up hydrostatic pressure. Hydrostatic pressure starts to squeeze water into your basement down through this wall, the floor to wall joint right there. And it basically just starts to push the water out into your basement. But what else does it do? It also pushes the water out into the soil that's next to your foundation. When it does that, it creates unstable soil. Unstable soil, it's kind of like quicksand. Houses sink in it. It starts to bear down on these walls and put an enormous amount of pressure. And then things like winter comes along and it freezes and you end up with frost heave. Okay, these are all lateral forces on these walls. So your foundation, the biggest mistake that people make about foundations, I think, is they think the foundation is supposed to be waterproof. This foundation is supposed to stop water from coming in your house. And that is not the case. This is why grade and drainage is so important, because your foundation is intended to hold up the house. It's supposed to bear load. That's what your foundation is supposed to do. In a perfect scenario, water would never touch your foundation. If you have properly sloped positive grade away from your foundation so that groundwater, rainwater, snow melt, all melts and runs away from your house, then the water doesn't touch your foundation and it doesn't leach down and it doesn't create hydrostatic pressure. It doesn't create unstable soil. And that's what's happening here. And let me show you outside. So look in here. You see all this remediation repairs that they've done on this foundation. This wasn't cheap. I don't know when this was done, but even if it was done 20 years ago, this is still $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 worth of work down here. Let me show you the outside. All right, so now we're outside, and let me show you the root cause of all these problems. And this goes back decades. Do you see this driveway? Do you see how this all slopes down toward this wall? This is the wall right here that had those pilasters put in. And the entire grade is sloping down toward the home this way. Now, this is one of those baffling things about being a home inspector, because the one thing that we encounter quite often actually, is contractors love to crap on home inspectors. They love to tell you that home inspectors are stupid and we don't know what we're talking about. But here's the thing. A foundation contractor, he knows a lot about your foundation, and that's really the only thing your foundation contractor wants to fix. He's going to come in, $15,000, $20,000. It's going to fix your foundation. they're going to patch the cracks, put in the pilasters. They're going to do things to structurally augment that house and then leave. And a lot of times they don't tell you the root cause of this is poor grade, negative grade, inadequate roof drainage system, a downspout dumping water into the corner. It is so often that I see these repairs done on foundations where they ignore the root cause. And here we have a scenario in which the foundation has been repaired. They've done nice work. They did a nice job. And then we see a nice little new crack. And that means it's still structurally moving. And as soon as I walked outside and saw that negative grade, you look at that driveway's 20, 30 years old. Nobody ever fixed the actual problem.